afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's call with LNI Secretary Oleksiak and UC Benefits Policy Director Susan Dickinson. We'll get started in a few minutes. Hello there, Jerry. Can you give me a quick audio check, please?
I can. How are you, Teresa?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you. Hello, Susan, Jemai. I'm sure you're still there.
Hello.
Yes, we are.
Good.
Okay, Susan, can you just check your level real quick, please?
Sure. How does this sound?
That sounds perfect. Thank you both.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for today's call with L&I Secretary Jerry Oleksiak and UC Benefits Policy Director Susan Dickinson. I'm Teresa Elliott, Deputy Communications Director for L&I. Please submit your questions by clicking the chat icon, the blue thought bubble at the bottom of your screen. Please include your name and media outlet, followed by your question. In the interest of time, you'll be limited to one question, but time permitting, we'll open up the call for a second round. You may submit any follow-up questions to us at dlipress@pa.gov, and we'll address them after the call. For your awareness, this call is being recorded. If you do not consent to being recorded, please hang up now. Following the call, a link to the recording will be provided to the media outlets that participated today. We'll get started with comments from Secretary Jerry Oleksiak. Secretary?
Thank you, Teresa. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Let me begin with the numbers as we do. Thus far, since March 15th, we've paid about $25.5 billion in benefits with a B. $4.84 billion from our regular UC program, $15.7 billion from the extra $600 program that, as you know, was ended at the end of July, $4.7 billion from PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, and the remainder, $248 million from the PEUC program, the extended benefits at the federal level, and $40.8 million from Pennsylvania's extended benefits program. Thus far, 97% of eligible claimants who filed for regular unemployment compensation between March 15th and July 25th were either paid or deemed not eligible for benefits. The remaining 3%, which is over 49,000 cases, are still pending resolution. These all involve the need for our staff to review them manually for various reasons that we have discussed before. That's where we are with that. And you'll notice that we did add another week, so we are making progress. We obviously still want to get those claims caught up, and we will continue to focus on that. Thus far, we have our staff has worked over 280,000 hours of overtime since March 15th. We have more than doubled our staff, going from 775 employees to currently 1,655 employees, and we have helped over 1.5 million of our fellow citizens through our contact lines, whether it's the phone, email, chat, or our virtual assistant. And as we say every week, none of that matters if you're not on the right side of those statistics. So we continue to work as quickly and as effectively as we can to make sure that every citizen who is entitled to benefits gets them. Our latest trust fund figure, the balance as of last Friday, August 28th, was $483,055,894. As we have said all along for the past month, probably, that we knew we would need to borrow for the trust fund. We have our paperwork in, and we expect to borrow sometime early next month, September. We're still a few days away. So sometime early September, we anticipate will be our first need where we will borrow from the trust fund. Last Monday, as you're aware, Labor and Industry was approved for the temporary lost wages assistance grants from FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which provides an extra $300 per week in supplemental unemployment compensation benefits. Governor Wolf and I prefer and continue calling for congressional Republicans to make this process simpler and just extend FPUC, the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation. which is the extra $600 that ended on July 25th. But with no congressional solution on the horizon, we did apply for our share of this program and were granted approval. This is not a true unemployment program. It's $44 billion available nationwide through FEMA that was initially intended for storm disaster relief. Because of this, payments to eligible workers will be delayed throughout America and including Pennsylvania as we create the system that we need to get those dollars to our fellow citizens. It will grant an extra $300 a week in assistance to people receiving unemployment compensation benefits due to COVID-19 related impacts. And in order to get that, there are some qualifications that must be met, including a minimum of $100 received in unemployment benefits, and eligible employees must self-certify that they are unemployed fully or partially due to COVID-19. We have been approved for $1.5 billion, which will cover the 3 weeks that is retroactive, for which it is retroactive, August 1st, August 8th, and August 15th. The program will end when one of three things happens. Congress takes some action that would supersede what's going on with the Lost Wages Assistance Act when the $44 billion runs out, or by December 27th of 2020. At this time, we anticipate our process will be completed before the end of September, and we will be sure to keep you updated as we move forward with this program. We continue to fight fraud, particularly in the PUA system, and we are urging all Pennsylvanians to report all instances of unemployment benefits fraud. We still hear from people that are unaware that the fraud is going on. And we appreciate all that the media has done to get the word out there. But we still have people who don't understand what's happening with this. We do have a lot of information on our website, some videos on our website that explain it. And we continue to work closely with our partners at the federal and state level to combat this nationwide issue. We have seen our PUA applications decline over the past 6 weeks, and we think part of that reason for the decline is how effective we have become working with these partners in stopping the fraud attempts. We would encourage everyone to visit uc.pa.gov/fraud. That's uc.pa.gov/fraud. Where you will see a list of the warning signs, how to report the fraud, and how to return any fraudulent benefits that you may have received. We also are continuing to hold our virtual town halls. We will hold our 15th town hall this Thursday at 1 o'clock, and you can participate in those town halls through live streaming at access.live/PA-labor, or by calling 833-380-0719. That's 833-380-0719. So thank you for being with us. And with that, Susan and I will take your questions.
Thank you for those comments, Secretary Oleksiak, and we will head to the chat line now. We have Michaela Drapak from ABC 27, and she asks that we've received complaints of the PUA website not working today. How long was it down, and has it been fixed?
I know the website was down yesterday for a while. It was a national issue with the internet. Actually, I think it was a global issue, but it did certainly affect us yesterday. Susan, I'm unaware of any problems today. Do you know of anything?
No problems today, and I actually just logged in to make sure, and I logged in okay, so I don't know of anything happening today, just yesterday's outage.
And I'm not sure how long it lasted, several hours, I think, but we were able to get that resolved yesterday.
Next, we have Bucks County Courier-Times, Joe Chevalier. Can you provide an update on the $300 supplemental payment status?
Sure. We have received the guidance that all the guidance we expect that we need from the federal government. But of course, that could change as things develop. But right now we have the guidance that we need. We are working with our IT staff to make sure that we can do the things we need to do, which is primarily having people self-certify that they are affected, their employment status is affected by the virus, whether it's completely unemployed or partially unemployed. And, we do expect to have that fully operational by the end of the month.
Next, Joe Navsha from the Tribune Review asks, when you say the process will be completed before the end of September, does that mean that is when the checks will be distributed in about 3 weeks?
That is our goal. That is what we're working toward. It would be wonderful if we could get it done sooner, but it is technology, and we are, after we have it all in place, we will test it. We want to make sure that once we go live with this, it's functioning the way it needs to function. So we are moving as quickly and as efficiently as we can, given the parameters that we have.
Lee Lesniak from NBC 10 News in Philadelphia. Can you please share how long this weekend's web outage lasted? How many claimants were impacted, and when you expect this to be fully resolved?
It is fully resolved. It was fully resolved as of yesterday. How many claimants were impacted really depends on how many claimants were trying to log in at that time, and I don't know if we can know that for sure. Susan, again, I'm not sure. Maybe you have better information on how long it lasted.
I don't know exactly how long it lasted. I do remember someone in IT saying that after it was brought up, it's not an instant fix, and especially the larger it is, and in this case, nationwide or global, once it's back on, that doesn't mean an immediate back on. It takes a while, I guess, to regenerate and be back to the speed that it should. So I think the actual outage yesterday morning was a lot smaller than the time frame when people were actually experiencing problems, just because once the system restarts, then it has to take some time to catch up to where it was.
And I know for what it's worth, I had some issues outside of the UC system with my own internet connections and trying to do some things from home yesterday. So, we are, as of today, we are fully functioning.
Next, we have Nicole Brambilla from Public Source. What is the wait time for the 3% or roughly 44,000 cases that are pending? And as a follow-up, if 97% of the claims are resolved through July 25th, does that mean that there's a month wait time to be processed?
Susan, you can give more information on that than I can. Go ahead.
Sure. So when it comes to how long it takes to resolve, all of those cases are in the adjudication process. So what that means is the various parties involved have to be contacted, and more information is needed to decide whether or not someone is eligible for benefits. So the time frame, it could vary. It depends on the participants as well. Some cases, which have something to do with someone's eligibility, are only one party. You might only need to get a hold of a claimant, in which case, after we talk to the claimant, we can resolve that one much quicker. Those are usually done, within a week, depending on how fast someone can get back to us. But if there's multiple parties, for example, a claimant, and we need info from the employer, or sometimes we may need info from a third-party administrator, depending on who is involved in a case, the more people you add, that's the longer it takes. Usually cases of separations, why a person is no longer employed, those usually take longer than some other cases, such as, calculating severance pay or a pension. Those are usually a little bit more straightforward. So it depends on what the issue is. The second part of the question about calculating, 4 weeks back, that actually is just kind of in line with our determination timeline. Our federal guidelines say that we have to make a determination in about 3 weeks after the week that someone files. So that pretty much sets us about a month out. In a perfect world, it would be great if they were all done within a month. But of course, when you get into those separation issues where multiple parties are involved, that's what takes longer. So that is the reason we don't look at immediately, claims filed in the past 2 weeks. In those cases, individuals cannot file for benefits yet. You have to wait for 2 weeks to pass before you can file for benefits from the time that you open your claim. So the past 2 weeks would be non-applicable. And then, weeks beyond that, that's when you get into adjudication issues. So our statistics, as we calculate them, we keep adding a week. Every week we move forward, we add another week to it from the beginning of the pandemic, so that we're always about a month back.
Next, WPMT Fox 43's Jackie DeTore asks, the AG's office reported unemployment fraud by inmates in Western Pennsylvania. Were you involved in that investigation, and is there any evidence that this is happening elsewhere in Pennsylvania?
Again, this is an active criminal investigation, so we aren't going to get into specifics about that particular situation or any other particular situation. All I will tell you is that we do have our own fraud unit within labor and industry, and that unit and other aspects of our unemployment office have worked closely with federal and state authorities to stop fraud wherever we see it, wherever we find it. We want to catch the bad guys, and we want to put a stop to this. This is, they're slowing down the process. They are keeping benefits getting to people that need them. We are making progress. We can see that in some of the announcements that you have heard that have been made public, and the fact that our PUA applications have declined significantly over the past 6 weeks. So we are making progress. We continue to make progress, and I think the more people are aware of what's going on and take the actions that we are recommending on our website, the quicker that we can make even more progress with this.
Lauren Rosenblatt from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette states, I've heard from several people who've said they used a script posted on Reddit to get through the virtual assistant faster to get questions answered. Is there any evidence that there is a way to skip the line to get help faster?
I mean, not that I'm aware of. The virtual assistant tries to take care of some generic type questions so that a person doesn't have to wait longer. But if their answer isn't available in the generic questions, it puts them through to a person anyway. So I'm guessing what you're saying is that someone has found a way to skip the upfront questions, which could help or harm people. I mean, their answer might be in those first questions, then they wouldn't have to wait to speak to someone after that point. So if someone's calling back multiple times and they've already heard the questions, then that might be a different story. But when someone calls us for the first time, it's helpful if they do kind of follow the prompts and see if their question is answered. It is amazing how many times we do have individuals asking some basic unemployment questions, even though we're this far into the pandemic. We still have a lot of people who don't fully understand the program, and sometimes general frequently asked questions do help them understand what's happening in their situation.
Next, we have Elizabeth Wellington from the Philadelphia Inquirer. She wants to know if you can shed some light on letters that people are receiving that their unemployment has run out and they will be getting 13 additional weeks as part of an extension of their unemployment compensation, extended benefits program. Is this a standard letter, and should people be alarmed?
That is a standard letter. It goes out as soon as someone has approximately 2 weeks worth of benefits on their claim, so that they know what their next steps are. So that's automatically generated, and anyone almost done with their regular unemployment claim will receive that letter.
Next, Ashley Bishop from WPXI. Are people being notified that they have to self-certify for the $300? Is that via a mailed letter or email message?
Yes, they are being notified, and it's both ways. So if an individual has supplied us with an email address, that is how we will notify them. If they have not supplied us with an email address, we will be mailing a letter to them. And the individuals who receive this, regardless of whether it's email or mail, it's all the same information to explain to them if they have to apply. And for those people who do have to apply, it'll tell them how to apply, the website to use. Of course, it's our website. There's a specific page they should go to, and it'll provide that information.
So for the benefit of our reporters that are joining us today, it looks like we're headed into our second round of questions. If you have any additional follow-up questions, please submit them at this time. Leah Lesniak from NBC 10 News asked, as a follow-up to my first question about the website issues, If a claimant was having issues applying or recertifying over the weekend, what should they do today to get their claim processed? And Susan, just for clarification, was this a problem all weekend or was this simply a problem on Sunday?
It was just Sunday morning for a few hours. I don't know exactly which hours, but I know Saturday was fine. Now, based on this question, I will say, just to make sure everyone is aware, Saturdays we don't accept weekly or biweekly filing. I believe the PUA system does, but our regular claim system does not. Saturday is a day when our system is shut down to do weekly processing all day. So individuals cannot file for continued claims on Saturdays. They can file for initial claims to open a new claim if they haven't, if they're opening a new claim, they haven't a claim already. But if they're just filing for their benefits every 2 weeks, that's not available on Saturday always. So when it comes to this outage, if it was just a couple hours Sunday morning, by Sunday night, they should be able to use all of our systems, including PUA, including the regular UC systems, and especially by today, they should be able to use it as well. When an individual files for continuing benefits, so weekly filing or biweekly filing, they have all week to do so. It doesn't have to be on Sunday. Sunday is just the first day that it's available, so most claimants tend to file on Sundays because it's the earliest they can file for their benefits and get paid. But they have all the way until Friday, or if they're on PUA, they have Saturday as well.
Michaela Drapak from ABC 27 asks, does the department have any plans to hire more staff? And was the web outage for the whole site or just PUA?
I'll speak to the staff question. We have, as I said earlier, more than doubled our staff. We have added bilingual folks to help with claims. So we are always looking for opportunities to extend the capabilities of our system. We don't have any specific plans right now, but we do have we're going through some conversations with the governor's budget office. We are doing an independent review of our system to see what, if anything, we can do given the resources that we currently have available. So we are constantly looking at what we can do to either bring more people in or to upgrade our technology or improve our training, whatever we can do to help.
As a follow-up to, I'm sorry, Drew, go ahead.
There was a second part of the question that I was going to ask Susan to do, and I can't remember what it was.
It was whether it affected only PUA. Right. And I think it did affect everything from what I understand, and the secretary had mentioned he had some personal, experience yesterday with it not working. And I know I've had friends tell me it wasn't working for them either. And they're CenturyLink customers. I did hear OIT say CenturyLink customers were affected. So it would have been probably any of our systems because, it's all in the same network. So, once the global outage was resolved, it only took a little while, I think a couple hours maybe, to get the speed back up to where the speed should be so that individuals could file. And it was, that was earlier in the day. So certainly by the evening, things were fine. We did not hear of any reports by the evening that anything was slow or not being processed.
Joe Chevalier has a follow-up to a previous question. Can you give me an idea of how self-certification for people to get the $300 supplemental pay will work? What will it involve?
Sure. So there's actually two different groups of people that will be addressing those who do not have to apply and those who do have to apply. So the main tenet of this program is that it's disaster related. So your unemployment must be related to COVID-19 disruptions. So for individuals on the PUA program, and they do not have to apply because they have already been certifying every week that they are unemployed due to COVID-19 related disruptions. That's part of the PUA program. So it's the individuals on the regular UC claims, plus all of our extensions, or any special programs. Those are the ones who will have to apply. We also have a program called Shared Work, where employers can actually apply on behalf of their employees to receive a benefit for their employees. And in those cases, the employers are going to have to tell us and certify, not the claimants. So those are the two, well, I should say the three basic categories. And when it comes to the individuals who do have to apply for this benefit, what we've created is an online login where they can log in the same way that they do to file for payments every other week. So they'll log in normally, and there will be a special button there where they can select it and they can say that they want to apply for this program. So it will ask them the question if they were unemployed due to COVID-19 related reasons, and it will ask them if they are interested in the LWA payments. And once they answer those questions, we can then use that information in order to make payments to them. And we also have a paper application that will go out to individuals who do not have online access, and they can mail it to us. Of course, our preferred method would be if individuals can file online, because that is faster for them. And, the paper applications, they can just mail to the Labor and Industry Building, and we have that address on the forms so that they know where to send it. And individuals will only have to do this one time. So the answers that they supply, we will apply to every week in the LWA program. Our federal guidance said we do not have to capture it for every individual week. So if an individual does have their status change, though, let's say they do, work part-time and then suddenly they're unemployed for a different reason, not related to COVID-19, they can contact us and change their answers so that we stop making those payments. Or it could be the opposite. Maybe someone is unemployed for different reasons, but now they're unemployed to COVID, related to COVID. If they contact us, we can change the answer for them so that they get payments moving forward. So it will be a week-to-week moving forward. We will have probably a lot of people apply up front, and we're going to try to get the word out as best as possible. The sooner someone applies, the better. That way we have on record that they are interested and that they qualify for this program, and we can make the payments accordingly.
The Tribune Review's Joe Navsha asks, will the $1.5 billion for which the state has been approved cover more than the initial 3 weeks of August?
It will definitely cover those 3 weeks. After that, as with other states across the country, we have to reapply. So every week, we as an agency have to reapply for whatever may remain of the $44 billion in funding that is available through FEMA. So we know we can cover those first 3 weeks. After that, we're in line like everyone else. And that's one of the concerns we have with the program. That's why we would love to see Congress take some action to extend the $600 benefit to people that really need it.
We have an additional follow-up to the question about the letters that claimants are receiving from Elizabeth Wellington from the Inquirer. Are there more letters going out now as a result of COVID? And what are people eligible for in the extended benefits program?
Well, the PEUC program, it comes after regular benefits are exhausted, and that was part of the CARES Act. So that's why right now we're notifying individuals that this is available to them. There is on the notice, it gives our website so that they can have more information. It also provides some parameters. The PEUC program is authorized through the end of December. I believe the last week is the week ending December 26th is the last payable week of PEUC. So, individuals, once they are exhausting their UC, they're automatically rolled onto the program unless their UC benefit year has ended, because benefit claims are good for 1 year. So if their benefit year ends, they have to apply for the benefit. They have to tell us they're still interested. However, if their benefit year has not ended, we roll them right onto the program. So that's what the letter explains to them. It explains the two groups and kind of gives them an idea of what it is they have to do, if anything, to get the benefit. So that is just through the end of December. And then we will likely, keep the letter going out a little bit longer than that, just because, some claims are stragglers, especially if there's adjudication issues and late payments, because we have to resolve some issues about eligibility. That way they know what action they have to take if they exhaust their benefits and need the additional benefits.
Ashley Bishop has an additional question about claimants attempting to skip the line. Have you heard about people using a skip the line for the chat feature, not with the virtual assistant? They allegedly skipped the line by using a link on Reddit. Is this possible?
That I do not know. I know that the chat feature is something that was fairly, I don't want to say limited, but I know a lot of individuals have, said that they just cannot seem to log into it because the queue is always full. So if there is something on there that's allowing them to get in, I'm not aware of it.
Okay, Nicole Brambila has another follow-up from Public Source. Regarding the length of time it takes to work pending cases, you mentioned, and you as Susan, you mentioned an easy one-party case can take a week. A more complicated multi-party case can take up to how long?
It could take up to, generally 6 to 8 weeks is our range that we give prior to the pandemic. That was always the amount of time because of the number. It's not just the contacts that you have to make, but then you have to continue contacting all of the parties again, as long as the story doesn't match. If the parties have stories which match, then it's easy. But of course, different sides of a story generally have a different way of um, displaying themselves. So they may have different answers or a different account of what happened on that person's last day or why that person's unemployed. So you have to keep going back and getting rebuttal from all of the parties in order to resolve what the situation actually is and to make a decision based on their, whether or not they're going to be eligible, make a decision based on what actually happened and what the facts are.
WPXI's Ashley Bishop asks, are there any updates on the launch of the new BenMod system that is supposed to happen in October? Is that still on track, or will things be set back because of other things like FEMA and the $300 new program?
Currently, that is on track. We are in constant conversation with the vendor, with our Benefit Modernization Advisory Committee, which is comprised of folks from labor and industry, advocacy groups, representatives from each of the 4 caucuses in the House and Senate, and talking to the governor's office, talking to the Labor and Industry Committee to determine what the best path is. Right now, we are on track to go live in October, and if anything changes, we will certainly let you know.
It looks like we are nearing the end of our questions. So again, if anyone has any additional follow-ups, please submit them now. Next, Joe Chevalier from the Bucks County Courier-Time asks, she wants to follow up on how soon can claimants apply for the LWA program?
And that's, go ahead, Susan.
I was going to say not quite yet, but that is what we're testing. So we will keep everyone informed. We are notifying everyone once it is available. So individuals should keep watching their emails or their mailboxes, depending on if they give us an email address for that information and instructions.
Okay, and final question of the day from Ashley Bishop at WPXI. Are we seeing more cases of people applying for UC unable to go back to work because of childcare issues with so many schools doing virtual learning this year?
I can tell you in general terms, and then maybe Susan can speak specifically, but I mentioned that our PUA cases have been declining. PUA applications, the initial claim applications, have declined over the past 6 weeks. Our traditional unemployment compensation numbers have declined even longer. Over the past 9 weeks, we've seen a decrease in the number of applications. They're still higher than they were pre-COVID. So I think the last week that we have numbers for, I don't have it right in front of me, so I hesitate to give a number, but I want to say in the 26,000s, but I would have to check that to be sure. As far as the specific reasons related to schools or childcare, Susan, I don't know if you're seeing any change in that.
Of course, we have been receiving more questions in general about it. Individuals wondering what their eligibility would be like if they had to stay home, if they had to stay home part-time. And actually, the U.S. Department of Labor just issued some guidance on Friday about different situations, whether a school is closed or whether it's partially closed or whether they're providing an online option. So there's still a lot of questions surrounding it. Every individual's situation is different. So, there's no as we always say in unemployment, we can't, predetermine someone's eligibility. It's all going to depend on their individual circumstance. And then we look at the facts of their circumstance and apply our guidance to that to determine whether or not they would be eligible for continuing benefits based on their situation.
We've had lots of questions today and covered a lot of material. Secretary Susan, do either of you have any additional information to share at this time?
Just to thank you for being here. Continue to get out the word about the fraud. That is still an ongoing issue. As soon as we have more information on the LWA program and when that's ready to go, we will certainly let everyone know.
And that's all the time we have for today. Please email our communications office at dlipress@pa.gov with additional questions. Thank you so much for joining us today, and stay well.
Thank you all. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.